You're not bad at English.
You're not lazy.
You just don't have the right mindset. Well, not yet.
It's true. Most learners give up, and it's usually not because they lack intelligence.
No, it's because they expect motivation, that initial buzz, to carry them all the way.
But what if I told you?
Yeah.
What if fluency has, nothing to do with talent?
And everything to do with psychology.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in this deep dive, we're going to try and fix your mindset, your habits, and that fear of making mistakes.
Right. So if you've ever felt stuck, really stuck in your English journey,
Then this one is definitely for you.
we're glad you're here digging into this with us.
Yeah, we really appreciate you choosing to explore this, to kind of get under the hood of what's actually happening with your learning process.
It's important stuff.
Today, we're going to look beyond just, study tips. We want to really dig into why you might be feeling stalled.
And crucially, how to get moving again. How to build that momentum.
We'll be talking about why relying just on motivation is, well, it's a bit of a trap, actually.
And the surprising power of habits.
How to actually tackle that fear, the fear of making mistakes.
And why both listening and speaking are, totally non-negotiable.
Yeah, both sides of the coin. And ultimately, how to shift to the way you think about this whole thing.
So it's going to be a deep dive into what's maybe been holding you back.
And how you can step forward with real confidence.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Starting with this core idea that it's not about some lack of ability you have.
Right. It's more about the mental game, the landscape inside your head.
It really makes you think. We often look for, external fixes, a new app, another grammar book.
Always the next shiny object.
Yeah, but this approach encourages us to look inward first. What are the psychological levers we can actually pull?
Okay, let's really get into this motivation thing then.
Yeah.
We all know that feeling, right? That initial spark.
Oh, yeah. You get inspired.
You hear someone speaking great English. Or you just decide, right, this is it, time to get serious, and you get this rush, like, yes, I'm doing this.
You dive in, do a few lessons, feel fantastic.
But then life happens.
Always. Work gets busy, you're tired, you want to see friends.
And that initial fire just, well, it sputters out, doesn't it?
It really does. It feels a bit like that sugar rush analogy you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. That quick burst of energy, but then comes the crash, the slump.
And if you think about how our brains work, it actually makes perfect sense.
How so?
Well, our brains are wired for efficiency, aren't they? They want the path of least resistance. Conserve energy.
Stick with what's comfortable.
Precisely. And learning the language, especially early on, feels like hard work. It's outside that comfort zone.
So that motivation is fighting against our natural programming, in a way.
Kind of, yeah. It's trying to override that tendency to stick to the familiar. So while the enthusiasm is great to start...
You can't expect it to fuel the whole journey.
No. Expecting it to be the sole driver. It's like expecting one sprint to win a marathon. It's just not sustainable.
Okay, so if we can't rely on that, on this fickle feeling of motivation, what is the real engine for progress?
This is where habits come in.
And this perspective was really, eye-opening for me. Think about something totally automatic like brushing your teeth.
Right. You don't wake up and debate it.
No negotiation. You don't ask yourself, do I feel motivated to brush my teeth today?
Yeah.
You just do it.
It's automatic, almost zero conscious effort.
Now imagine, what if practicing English could become like that ingrained?
That's the key question, isn't it? How do we shift it from something we need to, psych ourselves up for
Into something we just do.
And the answer seems to lie in building consistent habits, those small, regular actions.
Repeated over time.
Until they become almost automatic, too. It's what the material calls the boring, daily, invisible work.
Boring but essential. It might not feel like massive progress each day.
No big breakthroughs, maybe, but these tiny, consistent efforts, they build the foundation. That's the bedrock of fluency.
So it's about shifting focus away from chasing that feeling.
And towards building a reliable system, a system of habits that keeps you going even when motivation, dips.
Like planting a seed, you said. Consistent watering.
Exactly. You don't see the tree overnight, but the consistency leads to growth eventually.
And this connects so well to the next big hurdle. The fear of making mistakes.
Ah, yes. The Carla story.
The student from Brazil knew her grammar, had the vocabulary.
Froze up when it came time to speak.
Yeah, always apologizing. Sorry, my English is bad. Why? Because she felt she was always making mistakes.
I think so many learners can relate to that feeling of being paralyzed by the fear of imperfection.
Totally. It's a huge barrier.
Carla's experience really highlights this, doesn't it? That fear of not getting it perfect can be just debilitating.
But the insight here, the reframe, was so powerful.
Tell me about that.
Well, instead of seeing mistakes as failure, as proof she wasn't good enough.
They were reframed as courage.
Exactly, as signs of courage. Proof that she was trying, putting herself out there.
That shift from self-criticism to, like, self-encouragement, that's huge.
Absolutely. One of the key lines was, you don't speak badly, you speak with courage.
I like that.
Your mistakes are signs that you are trying, and trying is how we grow. Then it just clicked for me.
And what happened with Carla?
The result. This mindset shift, plus consistent practice. Within 3 months, she was giving presentations in English at work, confidently.
Wow. That's incredible progress.
It really underlines the point, doesn't it? Fluency isn't about reaching some mythical perfection.
It's built through persistence, through showing up and trying.
It's okay to forget words. It's okay to mix up grammar sometimes.
Even saying something like, he go.
Yeah. Even things that aren't textbook perfect.
Yeah.
The win is in the trying, the act of speaking itself.
That really takes the pressure off.
It should. And it leads right into tackling that main enemy, fear itself.
The fear of sounding stupid, making mistakes, being judged.
It's probably the single biggest obstacle for language learners, wouldn't you say?
I agree, but the material we looked at offers this liberating secret.
Which is,
Basically, nobody cares.
huh? Well, not as much as you think they do, right?
Exactly. Native speakers, generally, they prioritize understanding your message. They're not sitting there with a red pen grading your grammar.
They just want to know what you mean. The example used was, I know have time.
Grammatically wrong, obviously.
But perfectly clear, right? Communication achieved.
That's the goal.
And the more you actually speak, even with those errors.
The more you learn, the faster you improve because you make those mistakes and learn from them.
It's like the advice says, speak now, make mistakes now.
And grow faster than you ever thought possible. It's about action over perfection, prioritizing communication.
Don't wait until you feel ready. That day might never come.
Okay, so we've talked about habits and fear. Now, the material shifts focus a bit to the role of input.
Right. Input being the English you absorb through listening and reading.
And this is how you start building what they called an English brain.
An English brain. Explain that.
Well, it's like through repeated exposure, your brain starts recognizing the patterns. Sounds, grammar structures, common phrases.
Ah, okay. Like building new neural pathways just for English.
Pretty much. You develop an intuition for the language, it starts to feel more natural.
And those examples given, like, what do you mean? Or, that's a good point.
Or I've never thought about it like that. Things you hear all the time.
You don't sit down and memorize them like vocabulary lists.
No, you just absorb them through hearing them used in context again and again.
And it's encouraging that even passive listening counts.
Right.
Like a podcast in the background.
Yeah, even that contributes. It's all feeding that English brain.
So how do we make input effective? There was a practical method.
Yes, a 4-step approach. First, choose stuff that actually interests you.
Makes sense. If you hate politics, don't force yourself to watch news in English.
Right. Find gardening shows, cooking tutorials, whatever you enjoy makes it sustainable.
Okay, step 1, interesting content. Step 2,
Use subtitles strategically. Maybe start with English subtitles for help.
then challenge yourself to turn them off later.
Exactly. Step 3, repeat short sections. Don't just listen once and move on.
Listen multiple times. Pause.
Try shadowing.
Yeah, shadowing, repeating what you hear. It's great practice. And finally, step 4.
Write down full phrases, not just single words.
Yes, learn vocabulary in context. See how words work together.
Got it. Input is crucial, but it's only half the story.
Absolutely, input is essential, but you also need output.
Meaning, speaking, actively using the language.
You got it. Even if it feels awkward at first,
Yeah.
you have to start producing English yourself.
And the material suggested ways to do this even if you're, like, shy or don't have partners.
Yeah, really accessible ways. Talk to yourself.
Narrate your day. Okay, now I'm making coffee.
Sure, or explain something to your pet in English. Record yourself on your phone.
Nobody has to hear it but you. Exactly. Output is where the learning really gets active, where you test what you've absorbed.
It solidifies it. You take the passive knowledge from input.
And try to actively build your own sentences, express your own ideas.
And that quote. Every sentence you say brings you one step closer to fluency.
It's true. It reinforces what you know, and crucially, it shows you where the gaps are.
Right. You realize, oh, I don't know how to say this, or I keep messing up that tense.
And that then guides your next learning steps. It makes the whole process more targeted.
Okay, so putting this all together, habits, tackling fear, input, output, it really feels like a huge part of this is about the mindset.
A fundamental shift, yeah. Recognizing those negative loops we get into.
That internal voice saying, I'm just bad at English. I'll never be fluent.
I'm too old, too busy, too tired, all those excuses.
And consciously replacing them. Choosing more empowering thoughts.
Affirmations like, I'm learning every day.
I improve with every sentence I speak.
And that really powerful one, fluency is not a gift, it's a decision.
Ooh, I like that. It's a decision. It puts the power back in your hands.
Totally. It reframes fluency. It's not something you either have or don't. It's the result of your commitment, your daily choices.
It's about ownership, believing you can grow.
And to make that commitment feel maybe less daunting.
There's the 7-day challenge.
Yes. A concrete, manageable first step. Just 15 minutes of English every single day for 1 week.
And broken down, right? Like 5 minutes listening.
5 minutes speaking.
Even just to yourself.
The key is consistency over intensity. Like the material says, no excuses, no perfection.
Just you, showing up.
Consistently. That's the focus.
And this challenge, it's designed to build that initial momentum.
Exactly. Break that start-stop cycle. Prove to yourself you can be consistent, even in a small way.
And the promise is, after just 7 days, you'll notice a difference.
Not just in English, but in your confidence, your belief, that feeling of momentum.
It shows you how fluency is actually built.
One small habit, 1 day at a time.
You really can do this. You've absolutely got this.
We believe in you.
Let's finish with those affirmations again. Maybe say them with us. Ready?
I am not waiting for motivation. I am building momentum.
Every day, my English is growing.
I am becoming fluent.
Thank you so much for taking this deep dive with us today.
You chose to invest this time in yourself and your growth. That's huge.
It really is. Until our next discussion, keep learning, keep speaking, and yeah, keep believing in yourself.